Hi everyone, it's Don, and I was just having a conversation with a subscriber who's had a conversation with somebody who is basically blaming a travel agent because of some things that happened on the cruise ship, such as having to attend the muster drill, and they weren't told they had to do this. Having candles confiscated in their luggage, and they weren't told they weren't allowed to bring these on board. And so, yeah, I get this all the time, so I'm going to go over some of the safety things that you can and can't do, and what you can bring on a ship and what you can't bring on a ship. And I'm going to talk about some of the safety items on a ship. All that right after this. First off, let's go with the straightforward thing about the travel agent. The responsibility of a travel agent is to make sure you have the proper documents for your trip, including passport, visas, inoculations, anything like that that you might need. Those are the responsibilities, and to make sure you're aware, your tickets are printed, those sort of things. They are not your personal counselor as far as what you should be packing on your cruise and what you should be bringing. All the different cruise lines out there all have their own standards of what they allow and what they don't allow. And for an agent to be able to do 40 cruise lines that's out there, it would just be prohibited, especially when you don't deal with all those different cruise lines. So the regulations are that we have to provide you with documentation and make sure you're set legally for everything you need to do. As far as what you should be allowed to bring on a cruise ship, every single cruise line on their website has a list of prohibited items for that cruise. It's very easy to find. It's on every single cruise line's websites by law. So it's basically on you to make sure those standards apply. And some standards go right across the board. So let's go over some of those right now. Number one, that gets a lot of flack sometimes, is weapons. And first off, let's cover guns. Guns are not permitted, period. And this goes even if you have a carry permit, because you're going to international waters and you're going to foreign countries, and all those regulations are completely different than what's in the United States. So it makes sense for the cruise lines to say no guns allowed on board. You can turn over your gun and they will store it for you, and you would get it back at the end of the cruise, but you would not be permitted to have any access to it whatsoever on the cruise itself. And this goes for other items such like mace, handcuffs, knives over 4 inches long and even shorter in some cases, long pairs of scissors, machetes, swords, nunchucks, anything that you could consider a weapon, you are not allowed to bring on board. Number two, anything that has an open flame. You're allowed to bring your matches on board. You're allowed to bring a small lighter on board. You're not allowed to bring one of those big fireplace lighters on board. You're not allowed to bring a hot plate. You're not allowed to bring candles that are not electric. You're not allowed to bring basically anything that heats up and could be left on and cause a fire. Any illegal drugs whatsoever, and it doesn't matter if it's legal in your state or not. Once again, you're not going sailing in your state, you're leaving your state. The cruise line's not going to park off the coast of California and stay there for 5 days and then come back. It's going to travel to other places. Those laws are different. No illegal drugs, period. Soft drugs, hard drugs, it doesn't matter. You're not allowed to take them on board. And if you get caught using items that you snuck on board, you can actually be escorted off the ship at your own cost. Let's get into a good one that I always love. It's alcohol, because this is a contentious point. But think about it. When you go to the theaters don't like you to bring in your own food. They want you to buy food there, so they say no outside food is allowed because of allergies, and if you accidentally choke on your food, they're responsible. So yeah, no, they just want the money for you buying your popcorn and your candy there and not somewhere else, because it's much cheaper. Same goes for the cruise line. They want you to buy the alcohol on board the ship. And so no alcohol is allowed on board. Now, a lot of cruise lines will allow you to bring 1 or 2 bottles of wine on your carry-on luggage, but that's it. Sneaking any alcohol on board, for instance, on Royal Caribbean, if you try and sneak alcohol on board and it's found, you're not getting it back at the end of the cruise. It's confiscated and you lose it completely. You're allowed to buy alcohol at your ports. You're allowed to buy alcohol on the ship, in the stores, like bottles, but those will be stored and delivered to your stateroom on the final day of the cruise. So alcohol is, you're not allowed. And the same goes for beer. Beer is considered alcohol. Quick funny story. On my last cruise, I was just there and I was walking and I saw this guy in a taxi unloading case after case after case of 2-4s onto a big dolly. And I figured he was somebody working there and delivering beer for some reason. Like maybe they ran out of this particular brand and they had to make a rush order and they were just rushing it over by taxi. No. This person was unloading 25 cases of 2-4 to bring on the cruise, and quickly one of the attendants ran over, asked him what he's doing, and he said, "You're not able to bring 500 bottles of beer onto the cruise ship." And that's where I left it after a big argument started to ensue. So yeah, beer, you're not allowed to bring it on board neither. One more important thing, a lot of people during holidays like to try and sneak fireworks on board that they think that they can launch from the balcony of their ship or on the rear of the ship, and everything's, and they have fireworks. A definite no, because you never know where the sparks are going to go and you never know what it's going to hit. I mean, the castle at Disney World catches fire sometimes and you think you're going to be able to launch it in the middle of the ocean on a ship? No. Fireworks is a no-no. Also, a lot of people out there, you watch a lot of YouTube videos, especially younger people's videos out there. You see them on their skateboards all the time, or their booster boards. It's electric motors, and it's all hip, and it's cool, and they bring them along, and they pack them and try and bring them on. You're not allowed to bring skateboards on a cruise ship. Think of the liability of somebody trying to shred down a staircase on a cruise ship in a crowded deck. Yeah, they're not going to allow it. They're going to confiscate it right away. So don't even bother trying to bring a boosted board or a skateboard onto a cruise ship. You're not going to be allowed. Now quickly, let's talk about the muster drill. I was, not my last cruise, the cruise before that, I was sitting at a dinner table and these people were so upset that it took them so long at the muster drill, and it was really annoying. And I'm going to myself, well, come on guys, it was 20 minutes. We're on a 14-day cruise. What's 20 minutes of your time? Yeah, no, apparently these were some of those people that decided they don't need to be bothered with the muster drill. Everybody else should go, but we can do what we want on our cruise. So suddenly there was a knock on their cabin door saying to them that they had to attend the special muster drill for those who missed the muster drill, and they were escorted into a small room with 6 other people who also thought that they should be better than everyone else and not have to take part in the mandatory muster drill. I don't understand when people don't understand mandatory means. It means you have to attend, and it's a law. It's not the cruise ships just wanting to do it for fun. It's the law. They have to do this, and they have to check off every single person. That's why they scan your card when you're going to the muster drill. And they were telling me this, and then I kind of told them, yeah, well, yours took so long because you didn't attend the proper one. Yours ended up being an hour and a half, where the original one was 20 minutes. So, which one was better? Another really important safety thing that I can't stress enough, it's lovely to have a balcony. It's fantastic to be out on your balcony at night, having a coffee as the waves go by, or first thing in the morning. But so many people sit themselves up and they hoist themselves up on the balcony facing in, and they're trying to take a selfie with the water. Yeah, don't get on the railing in your balcony. Don't lean way over the edge. This is how people fall overboard accidentally, and especially if you've been drinking, it's a really bad idea. So, yeah, Don't take selfies up on your railing. Just stand there and take a selfie like everyone else. And again, on my trip with the Caribbean Princess, a gentleman had some medical issues and had to be airlifted off the ship. So they quarantine off an area, put some ropes out, hazard tape around like you'd see at a crime scene, and this is so the helicopter can get in close and keep people away from the area. But of course, everyone's curious, and you have some people who just, I have to get closer, and so they tear off the tape and they climb up the stairs onto the deck that they're not supposed to be on, and then people have to leave the area where they're attending the sick person to go over and tell this person to get off the deck. They put the tape back on. 3 minutes later, somebody's coming from the other side of the deck who broke the tape, going into the same thing again. If there's an emergency situation on the ship, be a human being and stay away from the roped off area. They're trying to airlift a person to save their life. And you're thinking that taking a picture of this is more important than them getting off the ship. That, as you can tell in my voice, really irritated me. In fact, at one point I walked over to the stairs and I stood there and stopped about 9 other people from trying to go up those stairs, because it was so annoying that people just wanted to take pictures of somebody who was in critical, urgent need. And they were actually interfering with the helicopter, because as the helicopter get close and people started getting close to where the helicopter was coming, the helicopter would have to back out. And the crew is doing their best because they have 4 different sides they have to do it. And meanwhile, they still have to run the ship. So they were trying their best to keep these, but people were breaking tape and climbing up the back stairs, and other people were running to the rear of the ship, going up other decks to get onto that deck, and then running down so they can take the picture, knowing full well they weren't allowed up there. So please, 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 if somebody is in an urgent situation like that, just stay away, stay on the decks you're allowed if you want to take your pictures. And yeah, it's curious and kind of neat to see a helicopter at sea, but this person is in need of getting off the ship and you're not helping. Sorry there, I kind of went into a rant, didn't I? I don't normally rant, but there you go. Those are some things that you are not allowed to bring on a cruise ship. You should not bring on a cruise ship. You shouldn't try and sneak onto a cruise ship, and some things you shouldn't be doing while on the cruise ship. It just makes common sense. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more tips, more tricks, and more travel vlogs about cruising, please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.